stigma is right at the root of a lot of what the barriers have been put in front of people. Beautiful facet of the movement is going from anonymity to recovery out loud.
Really, kind of the theme tonight is really around social media and its impact on recovery and how social media can impact and enhance and promote recovery.
We make it so difficult for people to get treatment. It's almost remarkable how well you're all doing, given how difficult society has made it. But it's our job to keep improving that situation, and we will.
Pass, pass, pass. Smash.
If we had one more day.
Recovery means different things to different organizations and groups. So I think it's important for me to explain what my definition of recovery is. And to me, recovery is the journey through the process of change, where the only goal is going to be living a better tomorrow. Because we all live our lives differently, we have different experiences, different levels of education, we struggle differently, and we all have different traumas and triggers. How can any two recovery programs look the same? We may use some of the same tools as someone else, but we may need more. We may need less. We may need different. So that is why, to me, it's really hard to judge someone else's recovery path because we're dealing with different things. Putting in the effort to do the work and stay alive today, I congratulate people for that, because this life isn't easy. If you're struggling today, reach out for help. Talk to someone. Find out what their experience is. And see if you can learn something. Keep an open mind. Recover loud.
So I just love where we are now and where we're going, and it's really led by people with lived experience. Nothing about us without us.
Let's go. I'm on a journey to discover the truth. Living life in recovery is lovely. You got the power in you. Surround yourself with positive energy. Judges hitting people with provocative penalties. Need to make a change. Advocate to change the laws. Prove to people that it's not insane. When you stand behind a cause, I'm here to speak about the pain. Recover loud to normalize the disease that's been killing all my friends and my family. The time is now to let it all go and recover loud. The benefit is healthy people, family and friends that never have to overdose ever again, never have to plead out to a lesser offense. I'm proud to say that I recover loud. I never thought I could, but I'm so proud that I discovered how to live my life again, controlling my own destiny. I needed recovery, I still need it desperately. Addiction never defined my identity. I recover loud, here to tell my own story. I recover proud, save a life of like 40. I recover loud, yeah, I recover loud. I recover loud, yeah, I recover loud. I recover loud, here to tell my own story. I recover proud, save a life of like 40. I recover loud, yeah, I recover loud.
Welcome to Recover Loud, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Paddleford, and I'm Recover Loud. This past week, I had the honor of traveling down to Rumford, Maine, to visit the Larry Labonte Recovery Center, or LLRC. I was honored to be asked to be part of this panel, along with other members of the recovery community and Gordon Smith from the Governor's Office of Opiate Response. Let's take a look at some of the discussion that we had.
First of all, what you see as the role of social media in promoting recovery?
I see it as a big part of my own personal recovery. The reason I started my Facebook group in 2020 was because with the pandemic, we didn't have places to go. Meetings were shut down. We didn't have other people we could connect with. So using my Facebook, I was putting out there that I was in recovery. I was putting out there my experiences, how I was growing, and people seemed to appreciate it. It was giving myself some accountability to my friends and my family. But I also thought that people who weren't in recovery might be a little, tired of seeing all my positivity. So I started the group, and quickly I shared it with my friends, and they joined, and then they shared it with their friends, and they joined. And quickly it had gone around the world. And it showed to me that people at that time were starving for connection. And the best place we could find it was online. Everybody's on social media, one platform or another. And how many of you heard how negative social media can be? My social media is positive. It's filled with positivity. So we are what we surround ourselves with. And I think putting my recovery out there, having other people share their recovery, it's bringing us all into that positive space in our social media.
I like that a lot. But for me, also with the social media and recovery, that's how, or a big part of how my recovery started. A friend of mine who got into it a few months before I had. At first, I kind of was being the skeptical addict, and yeah, right, like she's really in recovery, blah, 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 or not believing it. But then seeing the positive posts and everything she put up, that when finally I was ready, I reached out and asked to go to my first meeting. And a lot of that had to do with, I knew what she was doing. Her posting it up, and so from there, it inspired me to try to be loud about it also, to maybe help the next person.
I think one of the points that Mike makes is really important is like the changes that COVID brought. How we were, social and interacting in meetings and that kind of stuff, and all of a sudden those opportunities went away, and adjustments we made, and how that continued after COVID. We continue to use that social media platform to access recovery, online Zoom meetings, videos, and all that kind of stuff. It's a great point, and definitely a transition in the recovery community as a result of COVID. So traditionally, people in recovery have tried to protect their anonymity. What are your thoughts on the anonymity aspect of recovery?
It makes it seem like people that go in there or get hidden in a church basement, like we're ashamed of it. And I feel like even from a young age, I was scared of it at AA, because I had some family members in it and stuff like that, and all I could picture was the dry drunk. So seeing it being more allowed and people not hiding from it, as I got to know people and realize how positive the recovery community is, was a pretty amazing thing to me. And just having people, like I said, kind of in basements celebrating together. I understand the purpose of it, but I think the more of us that can get out there and seeing these rallies take off, events like this, and taking the shame away from others, that's the whole goal, is make more people feel welcome to come into recovery. And if we're just doing it silently, we're not showing others what's happening.
So the problem I saw with anonymity is when I was using anonymity, someone else's anonymity didn't help me at all. And like Western Maine, Northern Maine does not have a lot of resources. And when I was using, none of my friends were talking about recovery. If they were, they weren't in my group. So when I finally wanted help, I didn't even know where to go. It took a recovery coach from Rockland that I had never met. I was connected online. And she told me what to do, where to go, and how to find recovery. So I did what she suggested. I went to detox and rehab and then sober living. And I kept thinking about all of my friends back home, and they still didn't know where to turn while I was living in Lewiston. I wanted them to know what I knew, so I began to recover up and share my experiences and resources that I was aware of with my friends so that they could stay alive as well. And, you know, without somebody talking about it, people don't know. It was in recovery that I found out a couple of my friends had been going to AA meetings for 15 years. Why didn't they ever tell me? You know, I understand that's a program, and you know, I just wish I had known of those resources.
For me, when I first tried to get sober in Rumford, I had tried plenty of other times to get sober elsewhere, but it never fully stuck. But when I came back to Rumford, I was just like, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to get sober here. Like, no one's sober in Rumford. And it's just, I was so sad, like, I was so mistaken, because it's like, but even within the last year and a half, I feel like that's changed in a positive direction, where more people are talking about it, more people are being loud about their recovery, and it's like, I wish it would have been that way a year and a half ago, because it's like, I spent a couple of months kind of going back and forth of like, what do I do, who do I connect with, because I didn't know of anyone in this town who was actively seeking or in recovery. But like I said, I mean, just being in the recovery community over the last year and a half in this town, I've seen that change in the right.
Say I've been through some hard days and heartbreaks. I feel like I all
Quite a few times.
50 times?
More.
100 times?
Methamphetamine addiction is a beast.
When we were kids in the backyard, playing astronauts and rock stars, no one told us to stop it, called us unrealistic. Then suddenly you're 18, go to college for your plan B. What you want is too risky. Live for weekends and whiskey. We all got these big ideas. One day they're replaced with fear. How did we get here? Darling, don't quit your daydream. It's your life that you're making. It ain't big enough if it doesn't scare.
My friend Mr. and I would like to wish you all the very best this holiday season. Happy holidays, everybody.
When you think, but AA also has saved millions of lives. When you think about the time period, the 1930s and 1940s, the shame was a part of it, but they also were vastly discriminated against. We're not out of the woods on that, but it's much, much better.
So how about this? Are there downsides to promoting recovery online, to recovery in a public forum? Do you see downsides and negatives to any of that social media promotion of recovery?
There are plenty of people who support recovery, but a lot of people up there right now, they're still pissed off at the addict that ripped them off. They still think that, you know, that person is useless. I don't believe it, and I do everything I can to convince them that that's just not true. I go into their groups and I talk about recovery. I have been muted People have started to like the posts. People are commenting. But when I was getting all that backlash, nobody wanted to step up. You know, now we're seeing that half the community does support what I'm talking about. But they weren't given that space to actually put themselves out there. And today they are. So I'm seeing the needle move. There are people that don't want to hear about it because they want to be mad at their nephew or their cousin or their brother. And I respect that. But, you know, we have to show that, you know, it is possible. We do get better. And eventually people are starting to see that. But to touch on the point that Gordon was making with anonymity, in the past, people may have known somebody whose brother had a problem with addiction. Today, it's my niece, my brother, my mother, my son. Everybody knows somebody. It's not third, fourth, fifth person experience anymore.
As far as going to negative effects with social media too, I see some of the same things. I don't know if I'd say it's a negative of us being on there, recovering out loud and using that. It's just the ugliness of people sometimes in general. You see people out there shaming the addicts or this or that, or just the online bullying going, but saying that as a negative means that we think we're doing something wrong here by promoting it. And I don't really feel it be the case. Even if we weren't promoting recovery online, I think you're still going to see the people that are taking pictures of somebody on the street and shaming them on there or the other things. I think doing this is overall just going to continue to help and fight that stigma. Yes, sometimes when you put yourself out there, it brings out the ugliness, but that was already there.
Does social media play a role in your personal recovery?
Broadening the connections that I have. I'm still able to kind of keep in contact with friends that I've met through sober living in the Portland community. I'm still able to kind of keep connections with people that I've gone to detox or treatment with that don't live in my community and still have very genuine connections with these people and like kind of support them and they support me from the sidelines. It's also gave me the opportunity to help people that I didn't necessarily know were struggling because I am open on my own social media about my own recovery process. Like I've had people reach out to me and saying, hey, so-and-so that I know is really struggling and could use someone to talk to, are you willing to talk to them? And it's like, if I wasn't open on my own personal page, like that connection may not have ever happened. So I know that social media definitely plays a pretty significant role in my recovery. Even though it's not my own recovery milestone, it still feels almost just as good to see them reach their milestones and know that like you were at one point part of that recovery process for them. So it's just, for me personally, it just broadens the recovery community that I'm part of.
I feel like it definitely helps people, all the different groups on there. There can be a lot of negativity as well, and I think that's why I kind of had to step away for a little while myself. But there's so many good groups on there and good people to connect with and all sorts of good resources, so it's definitely good.
By being loud, by holding myself accountable, with my friends, putting it out there. I don't know how many of you people have someone on your social media accounts where you can see that they're going off the deep end. They're starting to spiral. That's when I reach out, if it's somebody that I've known from the recovery community, I will definitely reach out and say, hey, what's going on? It provides us that connection that we all strive for. We want to have somebody that can relate to us, and when I can see somebody going down a road that I've been down, I definitely want to be able to reach out to them and provide that support.
I agree with that completely. And try to do the same thing where reach out to people when you see it on there. And I hate the algorithms on Facebook, but in this case, they come in pretty handy. It seems like I see a lot more posts from people that have to do with recovery because I talk about it a lot because I read their posts or whatever. And that just, yeah, it gives me a chance to sit there and, like you said, reach out. Or the other thing that it does is I have a lot more friends on Facebook than I talk to people in real life. So they're able to reach out to me. I don't know if that half a dozen or so people reach out that this is going on or that's going on, or you can come talk to my son or my cousin or whatever. And that just starts a conversation.
My name is Taylor Paddleford and I live in northern Maine. Until I was 16 years old, my parents both struggled with substance use disorder. I also didn't get to meet a sober version of them until that time. There were many times where I would have to call my friends to either come get me or just to see if I could stay in their houses that night, just because things weren't safe at mine. And every time I needed that, I was greeted with welcoming arms by all my friends' parents and my friends, of course. There was never a time where I was denied that. At times we had people living with us that I didn't know or trust, for that matter, living in the room right next to me. We also didn't always have food in the fridge or necessities throughout the house. When I was in high school, I can remember crying before going to school all the time. I eventually decided to go to an alternative education program rather than through the regular high school, and that was a big improvement for me. It definitely helped to get the things that I needed to done, and it's the only reason that I was able to graduate. It only takes one adult to change a child from going down the wrong path. Aside from my grandmother, I did have other adults that I would turn to. My grandmother had passed away because of her lung cancer by the time that I got to high school, so I had started taking more care of myself where my parents were absent. I started working when I was 15 years old. I got my work permit to work at a local and close to home restaurant diner. I tried to avoid going home until it was time for my curfew every single night. And it was at that diner that I was working at where I met my boyfriend, who also worked there. Over the last few years of my parents' addiction, they got into more dangerous substances. While I didn't know the extent of their use, I found out later that heroin and meth had become very controlling in their lives and bringing dangerous things into our home. Sometimes those things were people. At times we had people living with us that I didn't know, and we already didn't have a lot to eat in the fridge or usually even necessities throughout the house. The height of the chaos and fighting in our family home culminated in the fall of 2018. There was an early morning incident where my parents got into a physical fight, and the police were called. My dad was taken away in handcuffs and he could not return home. Soon after that, I was kicked out of my home and forced to find my own way because I didn't want to pay rent at 16. And this is where everything began to change for me. Both of my parents left the area for rehab on November 3rd, 2018. I was living with my boyfriend at his parents' house at the time and had to be responsible for myself. At the end of November, early December, we got our first apartment together. While we were living in that apartment, I applied for emancipation at the age of 17. It was granted to me without any hesitation by the judge. Today, I work as a supervisor for the Efficiency Maine call center, where I've been for a year and a half, working from home. My boyfriend and I live in the house that we bought ages 18 and 21 with our 5 pets. We have 4 cats and a dog. In my spare time, I tend to my 50+ types of houseplants. Taking care of them reminds me to take care of myself, of course, with the sunlight and water. And while I have not fully healed from all of my past traumas, I will be working on that every day of my life.
Recover Loud can be found on Facebook and YouTube, as well as these following stations.
Hi, I'm Mike Paddleford. I'm a certified peer recovery coach here in Maine. In 2020, I started a Facebook group called Recovery on the Road, providing support and resources to anybody who may be looking for them.
Let's go. I'm on a journey to discover the truth. Living life in recovery is lovely. You got the power in you. Surround yourself with positive energy. Judges hitting people with provocative penalties. Need to make a change. Advocate to change the laws. Prove to people that it's not insane. When you stand behind a cause, I'm here to speak about the pain. Recover loud to normalize the disease that's been killing all my friends and my family. The time is now to let it all go and recover loud. The benefit is healthy people, family and friends that never have to overdose ever again, never have to plead out to a lesser offense. I'm proud to say that I recover loud. I never thought I could, but I'm so proud that I discovered how to live my life again, controlling my own destiny. I needed recovery, I still need it desperately. Addiction never defined my identity. I recover loud, here to tell my own story. I recover proud, save a life of like 40. I recover loud, yeah, I recover loud. I recover loud, yeah, I recover loud. I recover loud, here to tell my own story. I recover proud, save a life of like 40. I recover loud, yeah, I recover loud.